good afternoon, and welcome to another segment of Live It Out Inc. on this thankful, thoughtful Thursday. I want you guys to come in, click like, click share, share this page with a friend, a family member, co-worker, anybody, because again, we want to help the community. Tonight, we're celebrating Stop Bullying or Bullying Awareness Month tonight. Last week we did. What was it last week? My brain gone just like that. But this whole month we're celebrating. We're doing mental illness awareness, and tonight is bullying. Stop bullying. We're gonna talk about the different types of bullying. We have bullying in the workplace. We have bullying in our relationships. Of course, you know there's bullying at school. There's cyberbullying. There's bullying, peer bullying, cyberbullying, all this type of bullying. So we're gonna try to tap into some of those tonight. We're gonna try to give you guys some resources on how to deal with bullying. If you think your child is being bullied, if you're being bullied, if your child is being the bully, or if you're the bully. So we're gonna tap into a lot of those tonight. We want you guys to get into our live feed, please. You have any questions, you have any comments, any concerns, anything you think we can tap into, go ahead, type them into the comments, and we'll try to address them as soon as we can. We do have a special guest tonight. We actually had 3 special guests, but one had a previous engagement. Something going on with my tongue tonight, y'all. Pray for me. And the other one hadn't logged on yet, but that's okay. Who's ever supposed to be here will be here, but we do have a special guest tonight. I'm not going to even tell you guys who it is. I'm going to let you guys be surprised because this person has had some experiencing with bullying, being bullied themselves. So before we get started, I want you to type in if you've had any experiencing with being bullied, whether it was in the workplace, whether it was when you was in school or college, if it was in a relationship. We have something called prejudicial bullying. That means just because of your color, because of your sexual orientation, because of your religion, people bully you because you're different. So if you've experienced that, we have sexual bullying. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And we have verbal and physical bullying. So if you've experienced any of those, please put it in the live chat. Let's talk about it. So without further ado, I want to introduce my special guest tonight. And I'm very excited for this young lady. I'm glad that she's willing to share her story with us. And we just gonna jump into it. You know what I mean? I don't like to wait too long. We just gonna jump right into it. So, special guest, can you come from backstage?
Hello, mother.
If you guys do not know, Jamarcia is my youngest daughter. So y'all probably think I'm the worst parent on the planet Earth. But anyway,
No.
Jamarcia has some experiencing with bullying. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to let her share her story on bullying. And yes, we're going to talk about workplace bullying, but we're going to let Jamarcia share her story because that's going to touch on the first topic of bullying that we wanted to talk about. So, Jamarcia, just tell us a little bit about what you experienced. Well, first of all, let's talk about bullying. What is bullying? How would you define bullying, Jamarcia? What do you think when you hear the word bullying? What do you think it is? What do you think about?
I think it's when someone constantly attacks you about certain things about you, like things that you like, what you look like, what you don't look like. Yeah, how your
Okay,
hair looks,
well,
what you
and
wear.
usually it is a powerful person, or at least person that think that they're more powerful than the other
Right.
person. They constantly picks on this person psychologically or physically, and we're going to talk about that. So, Jamarcia, share with us some of the bullying that you experienced in
Okay.
school.
Well, I experienced bullying mostly in middle school. I don't know. I guess that's when teenagers are most hormonal. They coming into themselves. They want to look like this certain type. They want to do this. I was. I don't want to say I was overweight because I didn't really feel like I was a fat kid, but they called me cheeseburger.
Oh, okay. Cheeseburger.
Like, and
That wasn't
that really hurt my feelings. And being the person that I am today, you wouldn't think like I'll let somebody get to me that easily. But the thing about it, it wasn't like a bunch of girls. It was a bunch of dudes.
Oh
He was
wow.
like,
Okay.
right. Like, how insecure are you? A bunch of dudes. They teased me, called me cheeseburger. Nobody really made fun of how I dressed. It was more always about my weight. So I had insecurities with my appearance, especially when I was a teenager. And then with my I hung around two girls when I was a teenager, and they was all like lip glossed up, half shirt wearing, booty out wearing type. And I just wasn't like that. So I guess being affiliated with them, people expected that from me. So I got made fun of because of that. Like, I guess I wasn't the pretty friend, or I wasn't the lit friend. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I felt it, you know. And it happened mostly in middle school, because when I got to high school, it was so much more diversity that compared to some of the other girls, I was considered tiny. So the bullying kind of stopped in high school. Then my mom, she was like a Joner, like she talked about.
Y'all throw me under the bus.
Like, it didn't make no sense. That's why Duck Head so big. We ain't getting into that.
Y'all throw me on the bus every time y'all get on here. Y'all keep throwing me under the bus, okay?
But I know now this is I don't want to say it's a good thing, but I kind of learned like how to join people when I got to high school. So when we got to the lunch table and people tried to come for me, I'm like, you don't want this. Like, this is what you want. So then I became the funny kid. Nobody want to make fun of the funny kid. You can't come for Jonah. So, and then in a sense, it's almost like I became a bully, if that makes any sense.
Jamarcia. Goodness.
No, because you think it's all in fun, but you never know how you're making another person feel.
Exactly.
You know? So to me, it's just like, oh, I'm coming for you because you come for me, but I never know like what part I was coming from, like what they was going through at home, because I know calling me cheeseburger hurt my feelings. So
yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
It was her
yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about when they were called, and you said it was mostly guys. And
yes.
In middle school, guys they do the totally opposite of what they really feel. So if they like you, they talk about you, or they hit you, or they aggravate you, or they make you think that, you know, they don't like you, but really they be feeling the opposite way. But when you was going through that, how did that make you feel? And for the record, before you answer that, let me defend myself. When you said I was always joning.
You are.
I understand. I grew up in the generation of joning. We joned. That's what we did. Now earlier, you know, when I was younger, if you talked about my mama, then it was a fight. You know, it was like, don't talk about my mom. You can say what you want to say, but don't talk about my mom. I mean, like, that was a real fight when you talked about somebody's mom. But then they had a whole show called Your Mama Jokes. So that kind of took that away, because then it was acceptable to talk about people's moms. So it wasn't so bad. You didn't make people feel so bad when you talked about their mom. They learned how to get over that, because I used to always tell y'all, don't worry about nobody talking about me, because I got me. I can defend myself. So don't be trying to take up for me because somebody said something about me. But in a sense, we came up in Jonah, and it was all in good and fun. And I can remember to this day, his name is Larry Curry, and he's from Cleveland Avenue over there in Colony Creek. When Larry showed up on the scene, you did not want to be there, because whoever he was coming for, he was gonna give it to him, and it was all fun. But I mean, like, When Larry, I was like, I'm about to go because Larry ain't about to get me today. So we did grow up in the Jonan era, but I don't think we realized it was actually bullying. Now, in
Mm-hmm.
your generation, kids start being a little bit more sensitive. Kids start being a little bit more in tune with their feelings. And hey Gianna, you made it. Hi. Okay, we're gonna tune you and we're gonna catch you up.
Okay.
So then it started to be a little bit more sensitive. It started getting a little bit more serious now. Like kids between the ages of 10 and 14 are actually committing suicide because of being bullied in school. So it is serious. But I don't know if Joni. Again, I didn't want y'all to be soft. I wanted you to hear stuff. I was like, people gonna talk about you. You can't fold because people talk about you. You need to keep it moving, brush it off, and keep it moving. I don't know if that kind of help you or hurt you. But now, when they were calling you cheeseburger, how did it make you feel? And why did you feel the need to come say, "Hey, mom, they bullying me at school, and I don't really like it. It makes me feel this type of way."
I mean, then you're a tattletale. Like you said, well, I don't want to say back in my day because man, I'm only 27. but,
Oh.
but I didn't want to seem like you say soft or like I couldn't take it. But even though I never felt suicidal when they was calling me cheeseburger, I did have feelings, but I just wanted to go away. Like I didn't want to go to school. I miss my bus.
That's why you missing the bus all the time.
Yeah, like it'll be certain stuff like that. I just didn't want to be at that school. Like and then it'll start early, like
yeah, that is actually, guys, that is a sign that your child may be being bullied when they don't want to go to school or they do things to keep from going to school. So that's something to look for. So Jamarcia, we're gonna pull Gianna in. Gianna, we was talking about bullying, and Jamarcia was sharing with us how she was bullied in middle school.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you just jump in and tell us what you wanted to share with us, and we're gonna keep it going.
Okay, thank you. So hey everybody. I will say that, and this is a transparency moment because I don't think this is something I've really talked about much, but transparency is really important for healing, right? I would say my bullying honestly probably started within like my family group. And because it was close to me, I didn't speak on it, or I thought that in some way as a child, like, it's normal or it's not really a problem. And I would say as time went by and as I matured and got to like high school and I'm having like adult relationships, I realized that the things that were said kind of became like my inner voice, and so that like gentle bullying or gentle constant reminders of things about, maybe your weight or, being called white girl because I talked a certain way or because I wore my kinkier hair and maybe some had more of a finer texture, that mine wasn't as pretty or because it wasn't as long. So hearing those things constantly, as a child kind of made you reshape how you think about yourself, that you're not as pretty if you don't have the looser, curlier textures of hair, if you have more of a 3C or 4C texture, or, that you got to add on a little extra accent to the way that you talk so that you can be accepted by the peers around you or things of that sort, or, just not be yourself. And I found that to become like a pattern of things that kind of shaped me as I grew up without really realizing it until I got to a point when I'm adulthood. And I'm like, why do I allow these type of things to happen to me? Or why don't I speak up about that? Or why does that even like exist in my life in a way? And then I thought about it and I was like, wow, I was bullied. and that's where it started from. And it wasn't, it's not always malicious. Like kids don't know. I work with children as well. I work in education. And so it starts really young, like even in PK. And it's mainly probably because they're seeing something in their home life or some type of lack of love or lack of empathy. And they're probably being bullied in their home life from people that are very close to them. And they come to school and do the same exact thing.
Okay. I'm hearing some feedback. So,
got a Bluetooth in her ear.
Gigi, do you have a Bluetooth?
Yeah, give me just a second.
Tell her to disconnect it.
Turn your Bluetooth off if you have one. Okay, so Gianna said something about bullying starts early, and being in education, it really does. So what I wanted to ask Jamarcia and Gigi when she comes back in, what do you think? Why do you think people decide to bully each other? What do you think the purpose of people bullying each other? Well, not each other. What's the purpose of the bullying somebody else that's weaker than them? Unmute yourself, Jamarcia.
Can you hear me? Well,
unmute yourself again. Okay.
Good. Can you hear me? Like Gianna said, I believe it starts at home as well. I also believe it starts like with your own insecurities. You feel bad about yourself, so you want to put someone else down, or you feel the need to be superior to make them feel submissive to you, or whatever the case may be, to make you feel powerful. However it is, I believe it's just something along the lines with your own insecurities. And even when you allow yourself to get bullied and you start to feel those things about yourself, it can travel into your adult life, and it goes from the guys bullying you in middle school to your husband bullying you in your relationship, or whatever man that you have in your life, or that's leading your life, or however it goes. So when you allow somebody to do that to you, or to make you feel that type of way, like, it kind of does mess with your spirit. And it makes you think like, what would make somebody want to do that to a person, or say these things about a person, especially someone like your peers? Because even when I was bullied in elementary school, if I had came to school with like chips or cookies the next day, everybody want to be my friend. Like, so kids, they don't know, so they're getting it from somewhere. So it starts somewhere. And I just feel like if you feel like your child is a bully, you should definitely start having those conversations with them and let them know what they're doing is wrong, so that they won't continue to do that through their life.
Okay, Gianna, we were talking about, why do you think people bully other people? Why do you think that happens, that makes them want to do that and be so mean and hurtful to somebody?
I think it's that it being like a spiritual thing, you know, something's not well within their spirit. So it's kind of like they project the insecurities and things they lack within themselves on other people, you know, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, you know, like she said, why would you want to do that to somebody? Why do you harbor those type of feelings or emotions? Or I haven't done anything to you, you know, I barely even know you. So for you to have that level of just like, you know, whether it be envy or hate or just like a malicious intent behind what you do, I think that it's a lack of spiritual grounding, you know. And okay, baby. Okay, baby. Come on. I think it's a lack of spiritual grounding. I have a 2-year-old, guys.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Hey, hi. But I think it's a lack of spiritual grounding, insecurities for sure. And you know, it's easier to kind of like point the finger than to identify and work on something in yourself. And I feel like a lot of people are just kind of pointing the finger and realizing or not realizing they got 3 pointed back at them.
Exactly. Just like this. These 3 coming right back at you. Okay, so let's talk about cyberbullying a little bit.
Okay.
Which it seems to be has grown over the years, especially since we've had internet access and kids got phones, these Facebook pages, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever all this social media stuff that you guys have now, that these kids have now. So do you think cyberbullying is worse than the bullying, like face-to-face bullying, if it makes sense what I'm saying? Because, you know, some like you guys experiencing bullying face-to-face. Now kids and adults these days can be bullied over the internet, through emails, through text messages, through your Facebook page. And then when you get into cyberbullying, it's kind of mixed in, especially the sexual bullying. And what I want I don't want to forget this, so I'm gonna jump back to that. What I want young ladies to know with the sexual bullying, how it starts, that maybe you send a picture that's supposed to be for your boyfriend. If you're not grown, you shouldn't be doing this stuff anyway, but they do it. So when you send that nice picture of yourself and your body to your boyfriend, and then y'all break up, he goes and share that picture with his other friends. And then now they're talking to you in degrading ways because of something that they saw with something you shared to somebody. So now you have opened that door. It does not make them, it does not excuse them. But I'm just letting you know you got to be careful how you carry yourself out there, ladies. So now you've opened that door for these people to start calling you these type of names, even if that was not your intention. So you got to be careful with that when you call yourself in these relationships, when you giving so much of yourself so soon. So young ladies, please beware. Y'all share this information with y'all young ladies because it's happening and it's causing people to want to kill themselves because now they feel degraded. They feel like nobody loves them. They feel like no one is listening. And now they're out here by themselves and don't know how to come back from that dark place. Now, with the cyberbullying, do you guys think it's worse over the internet or in person?
I think I think like the culture has changed so much that like for the younger kids or the younger generation, like that is reality to them. Like that's what they spend their time into. They have these personas and social media profiles that they build up, and they carry that in the real world like that's who and what they are. And it's like, you know, to them it may seem worse. To me, I don't want to be judgmental. I'm like, in person it was like harsh because you got to sit right there and face it and brave it down and put on your poker face and act as if you're not bothered and then go deal with it later on if you got the strength to do that. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you may break down. But the cyberbullying, I think it's like they're not able to unplug. So it's a constant consumption in it. And it's like if somebody, like the example of them using like the sexual bullying, it's they're consumed with all the comments, all of the shares, all of the the expansion that it gets. So it's like I would say in maybe a way it could be a little bit more impactful and hurtful because it's like it's there forever unless the person deletes it or you're lucky enough to force them to remove it or things of that sort. That public embarrassment just keeps spreading, and it kind of makes you like lose a little part of your identity
Exactly.
in that type of way.
Okay. What about you, Jamarcy? What do you think about cyberbullying?
I think cyberbullying is much worse than face to face. First off, there is so many people perceive things so differently, and everybody wants to hear wants their voice heard some type of way. And then when negative comments starts to troll in, like it's like a trail. Like once one person starts to say something bad, then you got 30 more people coming right behind them. And then like she said, like anything that's on the internet or on social media is never deleted. They're taking screenshots, screen recordings. They're sending it to it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all these Skype and video sites. So when someone is bullied and it starts to go viral, then they're constantly reminded of whatever it is that they're being bullied for. You do lose a piece of your identity because from now on you're known as that person that was so and so and so. Or you're known as this person that was this, that, and that. Oh, you're that girl from this video. You're that girl from that picture. And it's just it's terrible versus you got one school bully, that's just messing with you.
Yeah,
versus
you walk away.
30,000 people with all their different negative comments, their different perceptions, their different stories. Because whatever your story was, it's not even the story anymore. They done made up they done took it to all different types of lengths. They done made up your whole background for you. So you're not even the person that you was when it started.
So what do you guys think? How do you think we could curb cyberbullying, especially for the younger generation and the older generation do deal with cyberbullying, especially when it comes to being in the workplace or the gossiping or somebody trying to get a promotion from you or trying to get a spot that you're working for. So people sending different kind of emails and slandering lies and stuff about your name. But in this generation where it's harsh and it's hardcore and it's just ongoing and ongoing, to people making videos on Instagram, I seen where they say, "Hey, I'm in front of your house. I just pulled up on you." I'm like, "Why? How you pulling up at somebody's house live and you, oh, you know?" So kids are doing stuff like this. How do you think we can curb that? And this is for the people that's listening. That's why I say click, like, and share so we can share this information. Because at some point we have to be accountable for our kids, for our generation. You don't want your 2-year-old growing up in a world that's just where she's bullied wherever she goes. You don't want your baby growing up in a world where she can't be who she is and do what she want to do because they have to be afraid of what somebody's going to say or what somebody's going to do to them. So how do you think we can curb this cyberbullying?
I think that you know, a major way is that I think people need to unplug more. You know, we're so tuned into that we get desensitized. Like even the meme culture, you know, we share all kind of stuff. It's funny, ha ha. But like these are real people in these pictures that millions of people are and embarrassing. You know, so you could be somebody like us right now. Somebody may catch us at an ugly angle and screenshot and put a caption on it, and now we all over the internet and we're laughing stock.
Yeah.
And it's like we got so desensitized to the point where we don't even see a problem with that. Like that's a human with feelings and a life, and there's somebody's child, and we're making them a life like make somebody. Some people get suicidal behind that. Some people, you know, really get lost within that. And I think, you know, also, you know, banding up with a tribe of people that you know and trust, and making sure that you use your discretion when you post anything, not just for the sake of bullying, but for the sake of your future, your kids, your career. You know, I think that we share so much, but maybe on the wrong platforms or in the wrong way. You know, so having more constructive ways of what we share and making sure that we're careful, you know, whether it be our location or certain thoughts or pictures, like, you know, as we brought up videos, is not to say that we can't do it, but we just gotta, I guess, be more wise with how we do it and who we do it with.
Exactly. I agree. What about you, Jamarcy? How do you think we can curb some of this cyberbullying?
Well, other than what Gianna shared, I just think we should continue to bring awareness and use the resources that social media provides, because you can actually block people or report accounts that are inappropriately talking to you or spamming you or sending you inappropriate videos or photos or commenting negative comments. You can block those people, and you can let social media know that they're bullying you, and then they'll, even though they can create the account way over again, like just doing that is like a step somewhere.
A step towards stopping it.
Right. And then continue to bring awareness, continue to have these shows, these panels, continue to let people know that bullying is not what's up, and go from there. Because once the more people get involved, the more people listen.
One thing I wanted to touch on too, like when something is happening and somebody is filming it. Some of it is for, you know, like when they did the Ahmaud Arbery case. In that sense, the man was videotaping it, but it worked against him because it worked for the case. But when you got kids that's fighting and you got all these people around and somebody is videotaping, nobody goes to get help. Nobody goes to tell a responsible adult, like, we need to stop this. You know, okay, so parents need to tell their kids, when you see, I used to tell them all the time, you don't run to trouble. You know, just because the crowd is running there to see it, you need to go the other way, because you don't know what's getting ready to go down, what them people got, or what they're trying to do. You need to get out of the way. But it's gotten so complacent now and desensitized, like you were saying, Gigi, that the first thing I hear is World Star. We about to put it on World Star. So I'm like, no, I don't want to see this. You don't need to do this. You need to go tell a responsible adult, tell somebody, hey, I need you to stop what you're doing. They're fighting down the hall, or they're fighting outside of your house. Can you call the police? Can you get some help down there? Because somebody down there is getting hurt. Because at the end of the day, somebody does get hurt. Somebody's feelings are hurt, or somebody is physically hurt. You got where kids have died in fights and stuff. The little girl that got killed, she hit her head in the bathroom because they were fighting. And she messed around and hit her head, and the little girl died in the bathroom. Nobody went and got a teacher. They stayed in there and they were filming it. They used it against those girls that she was fighting, but that was bullying her. But at the same time, who's going to be accountable? Who's going to be responsible enough to say, "Hey, this is not right. You're hurting somebody. I'm not going to witness this, so I'm going to go get some help." So how can we get parents to understand that you need to know what's going on? Your child needs to know what to do.
Like in my school, you know, I have a lot of one-on-ones with the parents, especially with like child behavior. You know, like a lot of people say, oh, well, boys will be boys. So boys fight, bully, pick at girls, do things of that sort. That's just normal boy behavior. But it takes someone to say, no, no, no. It doesn't matter if they're a boy or a girl. This is not okay. It's not okay for him to do this. It's not about a gender thing or, you know, what is like the norm. And I think that it takes for adults to kind of set that standard and have those conversations. Mommy. Yes. Okay. I think it takes us to have those conversations and be very straightforward and kind of be the leader of the voice, especially like parents too, you know, because nobody's spreading those traditional ideals and things of that sort the way that it was, where it wasn't such a big, you know, widespread thing going on with bullying. I mean, they experienced bullying, but they also had values and lessons and things that people talk to them and like really call it out. And I think, like I said, you know, bringing more awareness to it, but exercising our voices and, you know, shaping like, hey, having compassion, having empathy, being kind to people, using our communication skills, having common courtesy, like really base level things that people forget about. People need to like integrate that and teach that and put that in their heads. Like, this is not okay, you know, and it has to be some level of accountability of them being held to it, you know, not just, oh, you can't use your cell phone or things of that sort, but really explaining to them the impact of what it is this bullying does, or just and to be a bystander does, you know. I think like it goes hush too much, and it's because they feel like it's not cool to speak up. So it's like somebody got to make it cool, and it's typically the people that they're looking up to.
Okay, and that's when we get into the type of bullies. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna go to relationship bullying. When you're in a relationship, and it could be either the man being a bully, or the woman being a bully, or the dominant or the submissive, however. So what do you guys think about when we say relationship bully? Have you ever experienced being bullied in a relationship? Either one of y'all.
Oh.
Y'all play that.
No. Well, when you say relationship bullying, is that along the lines of like an abusive relationship, right?
Yeah, and it could be
or putting their hands on you or speaking down.
Yeah, and it does not have to be so much as physical. Because that's just physical abuse. But when somebody bullying you, I think I can give an example. Sometimes I've been in a relationship where I felt like this dude is applying too much pressure. Like I felt like he was really, not that he was making me do stuff or that he was being abusive or he was being verbally abusive, but he was just applying pressure like, I need you to do this. Can you do this? I need you to do this. And he was just on me all the time till I felt uncomfortable. So now I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling like, hey, you trying to bully me into doing something I really don't want to do. Or you trying to bully me into a situation that I really don't want to be in. So when I talk about relationship bullying, I'm talking about more on that means I don't want to get it. Bullying can lead to abuse. Yeah, so in a relationship, bullying can lead to abuse. But we're talking about that step right, before it gets to being abusive. So have you ever experienced like relationship bullying?
Well, yes, and I have actually. I was dating a guy. He was younger than me, actually, and he had this sense that I was supposed to like cook for him and clean and be at his hand and foot all day, every day. And I'm like, we're not married. Or like you ain't giving me no money like that. You ain't
you putting down like that, bro.
So like, you expecting all this out of me, you really not doing nothing. So I guess in a sense that would be bullying, because You was trying to make me do things like I was uncomfortable for doing for someone who wasn't like my husband or planning on being my husband.
Okay.
When it comes to relationship, it did lead to abuse. So you're right, when but relationship bullying can lead to abuse, or it's probably that first step before abuse starts, because of course someone's bullying you, they feel dominant, or they feel, above you, or like they're better than you. And
Okay.
they have this weird sense of making you feel like you're not good enough for them. So you
Okay.
spend all your time constantly trying to, like, I guess, prove yourself, or make them not necessarily make them love you, but make them like
I know
I
what
was
you're trying to like
word.
make them know that, hey, look, I do love you. I love you. I'm trying to
Like to show them
trying to
that I
help
love
you.
you and I want you to love me too. Like and you get to a point where you start to lose yourself again, because all day, every day, it's about this other person.
Okay, Gianna, you was gonna say something?
I was sorry about that. I was trying to get resituated from my phone died on y'all. But
Okay.
I think okay, so I want to shout out my cousin because she invited me on here to speak. And one of my comments was she shared something in relation to bullying, and then the thing that I commented on was about relationship bullying, and it's something that I definitely experienced. And I mustered up the courage to stop it before it did turn to physical violence. It was really close. And so something I'm really passionate about is just like motherhood and postpartum and supporting women through those journeys, because that's what they deal with a lot. And, the constant change with their bodies and the things that are going on in their life, when you have an unsupportive partner or things of that sort, it can get pretty bad for you. And that was kind of my experience. Like you said, like trying to show somebody that you love them and going to great lengths that is not equally yoked, or that doesn't really pour back to you in a sense. And my personal experience was, quite frankly, having my things and my ducks in a row and them not, and me not making exceptions maybe that I didn't need to make. And so instead of, being supportive or letting that, get you up on your gusto and want to do differently, it turned into wanting to tear me down. And so it was more of a mental and verbal thing of making me feel like, okay, well, I wasn't as pretty, or I maybe wasn't as accomplished, or now that my body has changed, or this, I was less desirable, And when, sometimes when you're bullied, people say, okay, well, why don't you just cut that person off? Or why don't you just block that person? Or, everybody has those why. It was so simple until you're in that position and you're the one dealing with it, and it's a mental thing. It's a mind game. Bullies are really good at messing with your mental. And it's like, if you can mess with somebody's mind, everything else typically follows. I'm a firm believer of that. So I experienced it being more of a mental game, and someone getting in my head to, that inner chatter, or influence the inner chatter to the point where after a while, I'm like, okay, well, do I believe this? And sometimes when you love someone, like they say, it can blind you. It's not a silly thing. It's not because you're not a smart woman or that you don't have common sense. It's just a powerful thing, and they say God is love, so we're supposed to love, and knowing your limits, I think, is a big way of, preventing bullies and slowing down or curbing bullying, is everybody creating better and healthier boundaries, but it starts with the healing journey for yourself. So me personally, a lot of women deal with abusive boyfriends, whether it be verbally abusive or emotionally abusive. Abuse is abuse to me. And I feel like if he'll do one, eventually he'll probably do the other.
He'll do the other.
And so don't ignore it. Don't think that if he just says mean things to you or acts out in a certain way, that he just had a bad day, or this is why. There's never a reason for it. And so it's important to call it out and speak up. And if you feel like you need to arm yourself or call the police if it gets to that point, don't feel bad. Don't feel like, oh, you're just another black woman keeping the black men down, or that type of mentality. Because there are so many stories that you hear about women in domestic violence, and they're dying, or they're being severely injured, or their children are dying because of the abuse and them not speaking up and wanting to do something about it. So I think it's very important to set healthy boundaries. But once you realize that something doesn't serve you, or that it doesn't feel good, don't make any excuses or reasons for it. Trust it and try to move past it the best you can.
And that's some very good, real advice. if he's not pouring into you, and he's talking, giving those negative comments on the side, and he's belittling you, and he's showing you who he really is, believe that person, even if it's the man or the woman, whomever it is. When that person show you who they really are, and they will. Steve Harvey said, a man can only hide who he is for 90 days, 3 months. Now, when that person starts to reveal to you who they really are, you need to deal with it. Don't be trying to think you can change somebody. That's not your job. You cannot change a man, a grown man. You cannot save a grown man. That's Jesus' job. You can pray for him. But when they start belittling you and talking down on you, or trying to make you second guess who you are and feel bad about yourself, they're bullying you into an abusive relationship. It's okay to get out of there. Just know it's okay to get out of there. You got to set your standards. You got to know your worth. You got to know what you want. Once you know what you want and what you're looking for and what you're bringing to the table, you do not have to accept that. Again, I'm not beating up on men. It's a man or woman, whomever it is. If that person does not pour into who you are, if y'all cannot build together and they're continuing to belittle you, get out of there. He's setting you up, or she's setting you up for an abusive, emotionally or physically, relationship. Because once they isolate you from your family and your friends, they're gonna go ham. They're gonna go all the way in. Because now they've isolated you from your lifeline. You know, it's like you ain't talking that much to your mom and your sister, your cousin, and your brother, and all of them. Y'all ain't as cool as y'all used to be. You're not as close as you used to be. He's pulled you away from those folks because he know those people give you strength. So you got to be aware of that. And relationship bullying is real, and it's more of an emotional thing. They're more deceptive and manipulative, and those are what you call relational bullies, because they play on the emotional part. So, I don't even get joy. And verbal bullying is just as bad. People and parents verbal bully. And I know as a teacher, they always telling us, you know, you got to watch what you say. You cannot belittle a child or his family. You cannot say derogatory comments to a child, because it starts to tear them down. And relationship, remember, we're raising adults. You are raising adults. You're teaching kids how to be functional adults in this cruel world. And you need to give them the tools that they need to survive or to live. So when it comes to verbal abuse, recognize it. Know what it is. If it hurts your feeling, it hurts. It's abuse. If it hurts your feeling when they say it, it's some form of bullying or abuse. So we're gonna talk about verbal bullying a little bit, and then like I said, the prejudicial bullying is more like it won't.
You get your words together.
It won't come out. It's more on religion, a person's sexual orientation, a person's color, like you were saying about your hair. You messing with me because you don't like my hair. You messing with me because I choose to date a woman, or a man that chooses to date a man. You messing with me because I'm a Christian. You messing with me because I'm a Muslim. Come on, that's prejudicial bullying, and it's happening. We see it right now during the election. Number 45 is real big bully, but we're not gonna get into that. So let's go back to the verbal bullying. What do you guys think about verbal bullying?
I think that verbal bullying is probably like the most common form.
Yes,
and
it is.
At one point or another, maybe everybody has experienced some level of verbal bullying. We just didn't identify it as that. And so it's like we can't be so shallow to say, oh, well, they're just words, they shouldn't bother you, things of that sort. Words is how we communicate. That's what we exchange every single day. So words sting, they hurt, and they can have an impact to affect other things. And so I think with verbal bullying, in the same way, like, we're saying spreading awareness, but it's not just hopping on live, it's taking action in our everyday life. Just like you said, you see some kids fighting in front of your house and you grown, step outside and stop that, and vocalize yourself, use your voice. Verbal bullying, the only way to combat that is to use your voice, is to, speak out against things, speak up for yourself. And I always speak about like inner chatter and not allowing those voices or the things that people, the naysayers in a sense, kind of get into your head, you know, to have that strong inner voice and try to bring yourself back to the voice that God has within you and the things that he tells you is true about yourself and your virtues and who you are. You know, that should be the strongest voice. You know, unfortunately, sometimes those other voices become a little bit stronger and we listen to them a little bit more and they consume us. But I think that if we stay within spirit, you know, and we stay near to God and we trust that the voice he gave us is just enough and use it, it'll make a huge difference. You don't have to be a preacher or, you know, you don't have to be a public speaker, any of those. You don't have to have any type of title to use your voice and speak your truth and do what feels morally right to you in a sense.
Hey, I totally agree. I totally agree, Gianna. Jamarcia, what do you feel about verbal bullying? Unmute yourself, Jamarcia.
I believe verbal bullying is just as bad as any kind of other bullying. I believe it is the most common, and I do believe it mostly starts at home. I believe some people get verbally bullied. I'm not saying from experience, girl. You always catch the case of whiplash when I talk at home. But a lot of kids do get verbally bullied at home, but not even like you said, recognize it at some point. You can belittle somebody and not even know it by just speaking on their appearance or how they look, or like you said, what they like or what they how they dress. And when I say it starts at home, because like us as a Black community, we do take joining to another level. And
We
when you
do.
join your family, I don't know if it applies to anyone else, but I grew up around a lot of kids that joned a lot, that made it a sport. And like you said, you think it's fun and games until you actually know how someone feels. But that's verbal bullying. You actually putting someone else down with your words. And the way to fight that is to use your voice, speak up against it. Let your child know early that you can't make someone feel bad for certain things or anything at all. You can't make them feel bad about anything. You should love one another. um, Great friendships can come out of like weird conversations. You know, I had a bullying. You know, most bullies that start in middle school, of course, they don't know what they're talking about. But I had a bully that tried to be my friend when we were adults, and I embraced them because it's like, why not?
Yeah.
And it turns out they was pretty. I mean, we ain't best friends to this day, but we talk here and there, and like I really appreciate it because you put me down in middle school, and us being able to have this friendship now, you know, makes me feel like not that more to say you learned your lesson or that you actually felt where I was coming from and felt the need to come to me and actually speak up about it, you know, and that made a
Oh,
whole
cool.
difference. Like you changed someone's whole perspective of you with just that one thing, using your voice in that one situation. I don't know if he did that to everybody he bullied,
But
but I'm as an adult now and looking back on it, like it probably takes a lot from somebody to come to you and apologize for making them feel some type of way from years ago, you know. So
yeah,
whatever happened or whatever they went through or whatever trauma they had to go through to come to me like that, um, it was very much appreciated. But verbal bullying, that's mostly what I experienced because
you,
wasn't nobody about to touch me.
you usually when people mature and spiritually, they try to seek out the people that they've hurt just to make peace with themselves. And that's a whole segment on like when you've been bullied, that's you forgiving your bully, and you don't even have to hear them say that I'm sorry. You know, you just grown enough within yourself to be like, hey, this person hurt me, but I'm not gonna allow. And this happens to a lot of people when they don't speak up about bullying. When they hold the pain, again, they're holding in the pain, they're holding in the hurt. They don't say nothing, they don't process it. They hold it in, and a lot of times people become bitter and they live in bitterness, and they live in anger, and they live in misery because they've been hurt and they've been emotionally annihilated by somebody that bullied them or somebody that hurt them. And when you come to forgive somebody, that's you not even having to hear, you don't have to hear them say, you know what, I'm sorry. You don't have to hear them say that. But you've grown enough spiritually. That's when you've come to grips with your spirituality and you know who God created you to be and who you belong to, that you can forgive that person and move on with your life and live a healthy, emotional, mental life without suffering from being bullied. And I'm proud of you, Jamarcia, because again, when you was bullied, you never said anything. I don't know if you felt like it affected you in your adult life or as you got older, but just the process and even to speak it in the atmosphere to get it out there. Hey, I was bullied. Some people saying some things that hurt me, but it seemed like that one of the dudes that did it came and made his peace, which is very helpful. That don't happen to a lot of people. It don't happen to a lot of people. A lot of people don't get a chance to confront their bullies and try to make peace. I'm sorry, y'all. So what happens now? This is the hard part, and I want the live feed to tune in too. What happens when your child or when you are the bully? What do you do when your child or somebody that you know is being the bully? When you got that aggressive friend or you got that aggressive coworker,
Well,
bullying people, that aggressive supervisor that's bullying people on the job, got people going home almost crying every day,
right.
quit because the supervisor's just so nasty, or they always got something to say, or they just over exerting their authority, or just doing too much. So how do you handle that when you know the bully firsthand? Let's put it like that. When you know that bully.
I have a lot of peers on my news feed that are like really, really, and I'm talking about parents like my age. So these are my peers, and they're always pro. I guess I would say pro. I don't want to say bullying, but it's this meme going around saying that if a child hits your child, do you tell your child to hit them back or not? And then all of my peers are saying, if somebody hit my child better knock they bleep out.
Yeah.
Like, and these are my friends. So your children growing up with my child. So,
they're gonna beat her up.
This is where this becomes an issue. Because even though I don't want to teach my child bullying, I don't want my child to be a pushover either. I want her to know how to defend herself in any case that she has to. Hopefully she does not have to. But I think as parents, we should stop that mentality altogether, because teaching a child to fight back, you're only encouraging it. You're not stopping it. You're enabling it. You're gonna make them want to try somebody, because my mom tell me to hit somebody back after they hit me. I'm gonna walk around like I'm the baddest thing in the school. Like I'm waiting for, like you're gonna be waiting for somebody to try you. Like I'm waiting for it. Because my mama said if they do it, I can be like, you giving them that permission, or you giving them that go to just start something because they can. I just think if we were to encourage our children to, first of all, not be violent, especially at school, and to let them know to let their teacher aware that someone is trying to hurt them or somebody is bullying them, then we can put at least a stop to some of that bullying, where your child is the bully or you see your child bully. And then if your child is bullying someone. I feel like you can see the signs at home. So have that conversation with them. Let them know that it's not right. Like, and as far as what was the last thing you were talking about?
What to do when you know the bully firsthand? What happens when you know, like if the bully,
like the supervisor at work? You was talking as far as when it comes to work. Everyone knows that we're just there to get a job. I mean, get a check. But it is those people that like do the most, go extra hard, and they try to use their power or their seniority to get somebody they don't like fired, which I think is considered bullying as well. Because why would you want someone to lose their job? But I feel like if you were to just, if you're a person that just does your job and you know you're good at your job and you know you're an asset to that company, just ignore those people. That's when you got to have some self-evaluation, and then jobs, they be having the help hotline or the 1-800 numbers you can call. Let them know.
Human resources. Yeah.
Tell.
Call human
It's
resources.
my money you playing with. You're not about to play with my money. Cause you playing with what food go in my child mouth, and I don't need that. So use those resources. You don't have, I think people are so scared to be considered like a snitch or a tattletale that they won't say anything or they won't speak up. And most people's like, that's not my business. But it's not your business until someone's hurt or someone's dead or someone did something that they can't reverse.
Yeah.
It's not your business until the unthinkable has happened. So I feel like we should start speaking up sooner, speaking up earlier, letting our kids know sooner, earlier what's going on with bullying, because bullying is nothing new. It's not nothing new we're facing. We know what bullying is, and we know what we have to do to stop it.
Okay. All right, Gina.
It's okay. I'm the queen of unpopular opinions, so my peers are probably over me. I'm quick to be like, boo, that's ignorant. That ain't the way you go about it. That's closed-minded. You know, like literally sometimes it takes you to be that straightforward and black and white when you know who the bully is. Like, because it's still adults doing it, you know? And when they have, you know, those parenting skills, like everybody probably got that one friend with some cringe-worthy parenting skills. You like, you talk to your kids like that, you know? You know, you whooped because he did that. That don't require whoop. You should have gave him a hug, you know, like, and like it really takes, because they probably didn't have that type of parents, and I don't know where it may come from, but it really takes you to like flat out call them out. You know, nobody likes to be called out on their stuff. We know this. But a bully in particular are the ones who they are only allowed to bully because don't nobody call them out.
Nobody call
you
them
know,
out.
And they're led to believe that they're big and bad and they can continue doing. And I feel like people will, at the end of the day, they really only do what you allow. So it's like, yes, especially in a work environment, you want to pick your battles, know when to protect your peace, but also know when, like you said, if you're a valuable asset and you know something isn't right, if it creates like anxiety or like every time it's time to get there, you rolling your eyes, you just like, I'm over this, you know what I mean? Then it's like that's not protecting your peace. You got to say something. It don't require you to be nasty. You don't got to be rolling your eyes and neck and all of that to get your point across. But the truth will set you free in every situation in life. I believe that, you know? And so I think that if you know a bully, you got to straight up call them out. And if you're in like a work environment or just any type of environment with adults, you know, by all means, speak up for yourself and let it be known that you don't stand for that, because you are worthy, and it doesn't matter if it's work or relationship or friendship or parenthood, whatever it is, you deserve to be treated as that no matter who you encounter on every single level. And the only person that's going to advocate for you and make sure that happens is going to be you. So you got to muster up that coverage. Just go ahead and do it.
Okay, so okay, you have 2 questions before you close. Before we close, we got 2 questions. Is that bullying if they are protecting themselves? So physically, we got to be talking about physical bullying, if I'm not mistaken, because if you're protecting yourself, that means you 9 times out of 10 you've gotten into a physical altercation. So my spiel on it is that I'm all for you protecting yourself. It takes a stronger person to walk away or to try to diffuse the situation. But if it gets to the point where you're back against the wall and that's all you got to do is protect yourself, then you protect yourself. You don't let nobody just take over you. So that's how I feel about it. But if you can walk away, if you can diffuse the situation, like I said, it takes a stronger person to just walk away, be like, you know what? Hey, I'm not about to do this with you. Number one, I'm not about to fight. I'm not about to mess up my health. You put scratch my face up, you know, mess around, almost kill me for no reason, or I kill you mistakenly. Then one of us in jail, one of us. It's too much. It's too risky. I'm gonna walk away. But now, if I'm walking away and you grab me, then I'm gonna have to turn around and protect myself.
Right.
That's just where I am with it. Okay, Gigi, where you at with it?
I think that like when it gets to that point, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, it's a build up. So like there were things that built up to that point, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. So I think that sometimes we may hold a lot in and then wait until it's too late to walk away. We may have had a couple opportunities before then to address it or to walk away or to speak up and just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And boom, now y'all like neck and neck at it. So it's like it takes a level of like, a little courage and a little inner strength to walk away as soon as you see the signs of it being bullying or abusive or it escalating in that sense. So you don't have to be like in the heat of the moment trying to diffuse something. Now it's too late to walk away. I think that in a lot of cases, even in abusive relationships and things of that sort, there are always signs and there are always things that lead up into that big, the big kahuna. Now if you just get there, you gotta do what you gotta do. That's understandable because it's me and you.
Yeah. But I just don't want,
that's just reality of
yeah,
it.
you don't want to teach your kids that your first response is to just start firing off. I've always told my kids when they were growing up, go tell the teacher. If somebody bothering you, go tell the teacher. All right, tell me, and I tell them, okay, go tell the teacher. Then I'm gonna call the teacher and say, look, Jamarcy is having a problem with somebody at school. I just want you guys to be aware of what happened. So if the teacher does nothing about it, I've notified the office, I've notified the teacher. I told them to talk to the child. Now you still messing with my child and y'all get the fine and go down. I don't want to hear nothing about she being suspended because I've already came to you guys. So that's again, it's the lead up. So if you can get away, if you can walk, and I'm talking about parents with younger children, they have to kind of like be a voice for them. But when you're your age, you guys' age or a little older, like the kids that are in high school and middle school, then is it protecting yourself? Jamarcy, real quick, because we got to get to the, okay, you can go to question 2. What was question 2? Can parents bully their children out of love if bullying starts at home? So is it out of love if it starts at home? Jamarcy, you go real quick because we really out of time, but go real quick.
No, I don't think bullying is love at all. I believe there's all different types of outlets you can show your children to show them the right way. It doesn't always have to be a negative one. If you want to discipline your children, there's plenty of other ways to discipline them other than belittling them or belittling their character or whatever they got going on. I wish I really had got the first question. If bullying, I believe we should stop bullying at home because that's how it filters out into the world, and that's how we get these suicides and these reports that we don't want to hear.
And I want to make sure that I'm in the cut you off, but I want to make sure she's not talking about tough love as opposed to bullying, because some parents feel like they have to show tough love, and they be like, "Why would you do that to your child?" Because they need to learn, they need to have this experience. So that's not tough love, and bullying is not the same thing. So T, I hope that's not what you're talking about, but we'll talk
tough
tomorrow.
Love is still love, though. It's supposed to still be
tough love is still love, but it can look like bullying.
It's the difference.
It is a big difference. But you know what, guys? This has been awesome. You guys have been wonderful. Jamarcia, Gigi, thank you. Gigi, actually, I'm your auntie.
Hey, girl.
Hey. And that's your cousin. And it's the first time we met. So this has been awesome. We have educated. We have shared our story. We want to pass the knowledge on to stop bullying. It is still happening, even in this pandemic. It is still happening right now today, especially with the cyberbullying. So parents, big brothers and sisters, aunties, uncle, whoever, please be more aware. Tune in, see what's going on. Check their feelings. Check on your loved ones. Check on your children, your teenagers, your young adults, your senior citizens. We're looking for depression. We're looking for anxiety. We're looking for thoughts of suicide. We're looking for the bullying. We want to address all these things. We want to bring them to the forefront. We want to get help. We want to love on these people. We want to support our community. We want to do everything we can do to help people live a good, healthy mental health, emotional life. Life is too short. People dying by the dozen. We got to live our best life. You got to know who your Redeemer is, who your Creator is. Tap into it. Hold those L's up, ladies, because we're going to live it out. We encouraging you to live your best life. Thank you for joining us on Live It Out Inc. We will see you guys next week when we talk about ADHD. And we have a special guest again. So if you would like to be part of the panel on ADHD, adults have it too, not just kids. Don't just put it all on the kids. There is adult ADHD. So
ADD.
join us next week as we continue our segment on mental illness. Thank you guys again for joining us on Live It Out. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.